really, when I think of Patrick, it's about, he's a guy that makes things better. He's a guy, you know, I wish Lisa were here, because Lisa started.
She's supposed to be here.
Is that his speech?
I just wish I could hear him.
You wrote it down.
So when Lisa started with ProEd, this is early 2007, we needed to work on messaging. Stop. Just stop.
Which one of you should I listen to?
You should have done this about 2 hours earlier.
This is about to get a lot shorter. So we need to work on messaging. How do we distinguish ourselves from the LMS that we're competing with? Patrick came up with a very simple but elegant solution. We're not competing with an LMS, we're complementing an LMS. He also came up with a great visual for it. So a very simple message that resonates today. We call it the Devlin Doctrine. And it's something now 5, 6 years later, it's really one of our go-to pieces. That's an example of Patrick making things better. Presentation-wise, I think we all know Patrick's emphasis on presentations. Right, we got the 20 by 20 that ProEd has embraced. We have the corporate visions, which ProEd embraced early on, and now the rest of the company is using. Those are examples of how Patrick is making each one of us better. He has the idea of talking to people as if you were talking to them in their backyard barbecue. Right? Like, just be candid with folks. Talk about the challenger. We think about how a relationship is really sort of what makes a good salesperson, but really it's the challenger, the person who says, you know what, the fact that you're doing X is great, but if you do X plus Y, that's what's really going to make you so much better. And that's what people really appreciate. And that's what Patrick does. He makes the people around him better, the teams around him better, and I think that is really the highest compliment, is that someone who can make the world around him better is really the highest compliment of anyone. And he can do that because of his intellect. He can do that because of his competitiveness and determination, his desire to teach people, and his integrity. And the integrity is what I really want to touch upon. Because I remember early on when we first started working together, we invited me to a meeting at DOD. It was Fort Eustis. I think, was it Lou? Oh, no.
It doesn't matter.
You lost.
Every time Paul says it, everyone take a drink.
Well, we were walking into this meeting, and Patrick is like, all right, you know, put on your flak jackets because we're about to get our asses kicked here. This is our biggest client in DOD, and shit is hitting the fan, and we got to figure out how to fix this. So we go down to Fort Eustis, walk into the guy's office. The guy's office is twice as big as this office. He's got a conference table twice as big as this conference table, and unbeknownst to us, he invited his entire team to this meeting. And we're like, oh boy. There's 2 seats left at the table, we sit down. So Lou starts the meeting, he's like, you know, Patrick, we've had our differences. So I invited you down to this meeting so we can clear the air once and for all. Prior to this meeting, I've been in this learning industry a long time, particularly DOD, and I've asked around about you. And every person that I talked to said, if Patrick tells you something, trust what he says. And at that point, Lou said, tell us what we need to do, and tell us how to get better. And that's the difference. That's the integrity. That's the principled person that he is, the man of his word that he is. And it's that sort of approach that has built not just his career, but the DoD business that we enjoy now. It's now a $10 million business, and he set the foundation for that. And he's done that throughout his career in terms of helping other people. You know, the ProEd team, once Tim came along, and Tim and Patrick's gifts and Tim's mentorship, ProEd started hitting this number year after year after year. And by doing so, we were able to add more and more people to the team. People like David Palmer, people like Charles Lee, people like Jenny Roth, people whose lives have been changed because of what Patrick has done, because of the foundation that he set for the rest of us. And Michael Jason, recognizing the talent that he is, then asked Patrick to lead what was the most important initiative in the company, the mobile initiative. Patrick is now, I look around the room on the mobile side, there's people that were not here 24 months ago. And a lot of these people are here and prospering because of the standards and the mentoring that Patrick has provided. And what he's provided was a team that crushed its number in 2011. There's just a pattern, excellence in performance, where he cares about the individual, and he cares about the team. So personally, it's very hard for me to see Patrick go. But at the same time, I understand it's his passion for that team effort that's taking him on to Cornerstone. And I take consolation in a way that he's going to Cornerstone because, and again, I wish Lisa were here because I don't know Cornerstone well, but our paths have crossed at conferences. And Cornerstone is a irreverent, brash, party hard, work hard, play hard type of class.
Did you say party?
So, in that regard, I know Patrick's going to fit in well, because you can't talk about Patrick without talking about the fun side as well, right? The man who brings us Patty's Pub, the man who brings us not just 10 shots of tequila over the course of 2 hours, but I don't know how many of you have done shots of tequila out of a red wine glass. Let me just tell you, those pack a punch. And Patrick has a lot of great qualities I talked about, like determination and intellect. Sometimes the determination overcomes the intellect. Maybe he does 5 or 6 of those shots. And Newman's wife could also attest to that. It's not a pretty sight. But there are very few people.
Sorry.
There are very few people who can do what Patrick has done. Not just on the professional side, not just on the festive side and setting the right tone, but I think what impresses me the most is what he also does with his family. And for those of you who know Patrick, there's a tone of pride in his voice that you don't see until he talks about his wife and the work that his wife does. And when he talks about his wife and the work that his wife does, he really, it's just a whole new level. And it's just heartwarming to see that. And I also know the effort that he puts in with his kids. Has them ready for breakfast every morning, does their lunches for school, coordinates getting them to practices, which is a project management feat unto itself when you have as many kids as he does. He coaches the kids. He's the epitome of a family man. And when you combine all those, a very successful professional, a very fun-loving fellow who makes people better, makes teams better, and a dedicated family man, that is a very rare individual. And I love you, buddy.
We love you, man.
Patrick, too bad you're married, man.
I had nothing to add. Cheers, Paul. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Fire up the music, man.
Let's go.